Hey, real estate investing is going to be very different in the near future. And my guest today is armed with some unique insights that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew about investing. He's got the scoop on how creative financing and remote house flipping is turning rookies into rock stars. And the tech that they're using to make it happen. And it's not what you're thinking. And if you've got any anxiety around negotiating, you're gonna love this because that game has changed. And he's got some predictions about real estate investing's future that you'll definitely wanna hear so you can stay ahead of the curve. You ready? Let's go. Can you delve into the concept of creative financing and explain how it's revolutionizing the real estate landscape? What makes it such a game changer for investors, particularly those who are just starting out?
Okay, well, first of all, it's not revolutionary, right? We've got to go back in history. 1803. I want you to divide America into three sections. The left part of America, the middle part of America, and the right-hand side. Prior to 1803, America did not own the middle bit. It was owned by the French. Okay, then they had what's called the Louisiana Land Purchase Deal, where Napoleon needed money, and for $15 million, he sold the whole middle of America to the Americans, right? Here's what's interesting, Matt. America didn't have $15 million to pay Napoleon, so you know what they did? Seller financed it, made payments over 30 years, right? Louisiana Land Purchase, the biggest seller financing deal. Now, let's get into the Depression. There are no banks. Whenever you tighten finance, there's no third-party lending, people start dealing between themselves. So everything through that period of time, you'll find, is all between buyers and sellers. And if you look at the land records of people selling properties in the 20s and the 30s on the land register, it will be buy my block of dirt, make payments for 5 years at this much a month or whatever. You understand? It's not new. It's just that when we have tightened financing and it makes it hard, seller financing simply makes it easier for people to get in and out of a property. There's just different techniques. And it comes around every 10 years. We're a global financial crisis, we're all doing seller financing, right? Easy money, we're not doing seller financing. Now we're back to tight money again, we're doing seller financing. So it comes and goes.
I know it's not new, but it seems like it's so new to so many people because the last few years have just been ripe for wholesaling, and that's just what people want to do, and they just want to get the cash. But we know the real wealth is created through the cash flow and the holding of properties, and seller financing gives all of us much more opportunity to do that. And I didn't know that about the history, so thanks for sharing that. So let's talk about flipping for a second. Remote house flipping. It might sound like a challenging proposition to a lot of people. How are you leveraging right now technology to simplify the process, and what are some unexpected advantages of this approach?
Okay, three things. You call my number in Dallas right now, it's going to be a 972 number because I live in Dallas, okay? So when I'm buying property, any country in the world, I will buy a Skype number based on what city I want it to be in. So when I was in Atlanta, I pay $5 a month for an Atlanta number, $5 a month for a Dallas number, New York, whatever I want. It's $5 a month. Why do I use a Skype number? And here's why. First of all, people see that it's a local number, so they have no conception that I'm remote, right? As soon as you call me on that Skype number, it comes exactly to my mobile phone, okay? But this mobile phone could be anywhere in the world. You don't know that. You're just speaking to me like it's normal. You understand?
Yep.
Here's the difference. The reason I use a Skype number and I don't use a mobile number is that if you're in Germany and you travel around the world and you call mobile to mobile, it has to go through what's called cell towers to find out where that mobile phone is. Do you understand? It will take 12 seconds. So if someone calls me in Dallas today, it's going to take 12 seconds of dead air for the cell towers to find this phone, and people will not wait 12 seconds of dead air. They'll hang up. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I use Skype, and it's a Skype number, it's Wi-Fi technology. Wi-Fi technology only takes 4 seconds to find you. So people will hang on for 4 seconds, and then the phone goes, brilliant. People wait 4 seconds. I've just used Wi-Fi technology by using a Skype number. If it goes to voicemail, it's the same. All the different countries go to voicemail, and it's the same voicemail for everybody, which says, hey, hi, it's Rick. I'm just helping a seller on the other phone right now. Could you just let me your name and number? I'll call you straight back in about 2 minutes. Now, if that's the message I use, everybody leaves the message. If I use a number like, hello, I'm out of my office right now, I'm at lunch, no one leaves a message, okay? So that's the first part of the technology. So you get the numbers for $5. Second thing is I designed one-page smartphone contracts designed to be signed and read on a smartphone. So most people get a contract and they're going like this and trying to make it fat and thin and all this stuff. But here's my question. When you're buying houses from a guy at 7 o'clock at night, Matt, what do you think he's doing?
Winding down, watching TV.
Correct. It's correct. So what happens is most guys go, we're going to send you the contract. He's looking at his laptop computer. He's thinking, look, I'm watching the footy, having a beer. So what happens is I'm talking to him. And as I'm talking to him, I send the contract. He says, no, it's on the phone. And it pops up on his phone. He reads it, doesn't have to expand it, right? And he can sign it with his thumbnail and sell me the house while he's watching the football and tell me the score. And he can hear my voice as I'm walking him through the contract. So they're one smoke. So that's great technology, right? All on one page, designed for a smartphone, because that's what most people have. And the third thing that I do is the way I employ people to do everything is, having employed lots and lots of staff over the years, you never employ for skill set. You only employ for attitude. You can teach a skill set, but you can't teach attitude. And I spent all my life with 14 staff. Some were good, some were a pain in the ass, right? So here's what I do. It's like how I do all my staff in Atlanta. I put my ad up on the Indeed, okay? They ask the Indeed, and I say, here's the application form. The application form is you've got to watch these videos on YouTube. When you've watched the videos on YouTube, you give you these answers to those videos. Most people will not, but 25 or 20% will. But the 20% will are actually, I call it self-employed because they're employing themselves. So then they come back, and then I speak to them for the first time, only when I see the answers to all the videos I got them to watch. But now I'm kicking out the people who've got the wrong attitude, okay? Now they've got the attitude, they have no idea about how to do acquisitions, how to do seller finance, subject to or anything. What I do is I get them to YouTube to watch all the videos that all the other gurus have made for me. So I use their education to train my people. So they go away knowing nothing, self-train themselves watching YouTube. I send them a whole bunch of questions. They come back, complete the answers, and through the exams that I give them, based off the other guys' YouTube videos, they learn the skills. So I never have to teach any skills, and I get rid of all the people with bad attitude. And I went from overhead of 14 people down to next to nothing. I got 3 people. I got an awesome girl in North Carolina. Man, she just wants to make money. She's great. So there are 3 little bits of technology that you've got to get ahead of, because get rid of all these HR departments. They're old school. And by the way, one last thing. Going around the world, if you wonder why everybody around the world speaks such good English, how are they learning it? They can't afford universities. Everybody learns English on YouTube.
And so you're flipping houses in Dallas right now. Where are you located and where are you doing this from?
Okay, so I'm in Plano. I don't know if you know where Plano is. Right now, today, I'm in Ho Chi Minh, which you guys might know. Ho Chi Minh used to be called Saigon. I'm doing what's called a tour of duty. And then people are calling me from Plano at 4 seconds on the Skype number. No one ever asks you where you are. No one ever says to you, where are you? Because everybody just thinks you're down the road because of Plano number, right? Dallas number. Yeah.
That mobile contract, that's gold. Now, did you create that yourself, or is it an app that you're using?
I used PandaDocs, and then I built it on PandaDocs. So the vehicle I'm using is PandaDocs, that's all you guys have, and I built that contract and using the vehicle of PandaDocs. But it's so cool because now people can just sit there, talk to me, do the deal on the lounge without. It stops that whole thing about people cooling off and not doing the deal. It's great.
That's the biggest barrier when you're doing it remotely, is getting the signature, right?
Well, the technology is we can all use digital signatures, okay? Right? And now what I'm going to do with that, in pretty well most cases, I've got 1,000 guys. I'm actually going to be calling some more guys in different states to say, let me ask you something. I've got a whole bunch of wholesale houses. Do you guys want them? So when I did Atlanta, I only ever see a house if it's got my money in it. If I'm just making payments on a house or got no money in it, I don't want to see it. When I do houses a lot like this, the guy I'm selling the house to, right, it might be you, Matt, I might say, look, I tell you what, I think there's 40 grand in it. Give me 10 or 15, go and have a look at it and see what you think. You look at the house. I'm not seeing the house. You go, Rick, it's great. I'm saying, Matt, I've just forwarded you, signed you the contract. Contract's gone from me to you. I'm out.
All right, so my next question, for a lot of the listeners and a lot of people that I've been able to work with over the years, they hear the word negotiation, and either I've kind of see that they find it either boring or intimidating. But it's like really the essence of this business. It is what makes the money. So can you share some, and you're really good at this, and this is why I gravitated to you so long ago via your podcast then. Can you share some of your key strategies that you employ during negotiations to secure the best possible deal?
Yes. Okay. Remember, people are never doing anything for you. It's all about them. Every house has a cash bit and a debt bit. No one's interested in the debt bit. Everybody just wants the cash bit. One of the things I touched on in a previous podcast was the cash only ever goes 4 places, okay? It goes into a bank, goes to another asset class, it goes to pay debt, or it goes to buy a house, right? One of my questions is, where's the cash going? Here's why it's so important. If I can create a value statement where the guy gets more out of me then where he's planning on putting that cash, he'll let me do the whole deal and make payments on the whole house and give him no money. Because we're on a podcast, we haven't got time, I'll just use the guy says he puts the money in the bank. So we're going to put this money in the bank. Wow. Let me ask you something. How much are they paying right now? Well, about 1%. Let me ask you something. If you had two banks, one paid 1%, one paid 3%, where do you reckon the smart guy would put the money? Well, the 3%, of course. Well, that's what I was thinking. That way, get 3 times as money, right? Yeah. Okay, so why don't you speak to your lawyer, your paperwork people, put the paperwork together in such a way that I'll make payments to you every month, and I'll give you 3%, and you'll be 3 times richer than put the money in the bank. How would that make you feel? And a lot of them go, well, I never thought about that, but yeah, I'll call Jerry the attorney, we'll do that. So if you understand, these are all scripts, okay? They never change. Coming out of my mouth, I'm under wet cement with a mouth full of marbles. So the thing is, that's just one of the 4. All I've got to do is go through the 4 and make a better value proposition for him, and he'll leave all the money behind. Now you're buying houses with no money. One last, while I'm on there, one of the very first ones I did in Dallas, back there 30 years ago, and I had no money, right? I've never got any money. And the agent showed me the house, and I think it was like $139,000. And I said to the agent, will the seller let me make payments? And he said, he's not going to let you make payments. And here's what I want everybody to remember. I asked this question, just suppose he was. I know he's not going to, but just suppose he was, what would that have to look like? And remember, the answer to that question comes out of the frontal lobe, not out of the back of the brain. Guy comes back, the agent says he's not going to do it. But if he was going to do it, it would be 12% for 1 year. I said, great, bang, give me the contract. I was into the house for no money down, 12% for 1 year. Then I refinanced it down to 6% because I could show the previous lender 12 payments, on-time payments.
The word negotiation, it's intimidating to a lot of people. Idea that you got to wheel and deal and shuck and jive and pull the wool over someone's eyes, and you got to win, and you got to get them, grind them down to the lowest price. And something you had said, is, which is very much how I do it, if you just align yourself with the seller, figure out what their problem is, and then solve it.
I'm never having a negotiation with anybody because it drags it below the line, okay? Right. Creates anxiety. People won't do the deal. I'm always having a conversation, and maybe that'll convert into something different. Right. So I might have converting conversations, but I never do negotiations.
That's our conversion process.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, for the layman outside looking in, we're negotiating. And just that word, it has such a stigma attached to it, and a lot of people are afraid of it.
Everything you buy in life is a negotiation. The girl you go out with is a negotiation, right? The girl you married is a negotiation. You think everything you buy, the food you buy, when they go into the store and they're reducing prices, it's a negotiation that says we're offering a goods or a service at this price. Are you prepared to pay us at this price, right? What I always do on everything I ever buy, and people should write this down, whenever I buy clothes, I say, let me ask you something. What do I get for free? No one ever asked that. You buy clothes, I'll give you socks for free, belts for free. The other day, I checked into a hotel. They were late on the check-in. What do I get for free? They gave me free drinks for the rest of the afternoon. That's a negotiation, right? So, but just change the words.
For sure. With negotiating, the conversion conversation being such an important part of this business, what is a way that you could share with somebody how they could accelerate their competency inside of the negotiation? Is it just 100% experience? You just got to roll with the repetitions, or is there a way that you would advise somebody to learn it quicker?
One of the things that I went through with you last week, and I learned it when I was 19, was the 8 questions. I use scripts for everything. I spoke to a guy in Ireland this morning. We're having a chat, and someone came to sell him something. He said, wait, that's not yours, that's Rick Otton's. He says, how do you know it's Rick Otton's? He goes, the script. It's Rick Otton's script. Everything I say is totally locked down. Although I sound like I'm rubbing on at the mouth, if you learn very defined scripts for everything, okay, when they say that, that is the defined script. When they say that, that is the defined script. And you just learn these things, it becomes a part of you. Now, at first, it's a bit awkward, and you come out a bit stiff, right? And you're going to a lot. Now, when you people can tell you don't know what you're doing, okay? When you don't people know it's developed and it's inbuilt, and it just works better. So guess what? You're going to screw it up a few times. And I remember when I was 19 trying to sell life insurance, and I couldn't remember each one of those 8 questions, and I'd screw it up. Well, guess what? Practice gets better. Then you own it. Once you own it, it becomes a part of you, and it will actually change the way you have a conversation.
Creative financing, it often involves some unique risks and rewards. Can you share a story where a creative financing strategy significantly turned a deal in your favor? And what lessons did you learn from that experience?
What I've always done, I've always undersold my houses a little bit. Always not this way. That way, everybody turns up at the table. No one changes their mind and pulls out of the deal. So I always sell just a little bit cheaper, right? Now, what's happened is over the years, as we've had booms, especially in the US in the last few years, I might have made 40 grand on a contract or 50 grand on a contract, but the properties have gone so far up in value that the guys made 200, 300, 400, right? So I was losing so much money on future growth of these properties when different countries boomed that I put in a swing clause. And the swing clause works like this. We should have one of these. Let me ask you, Matt, you come in on my house, I'm charging you 6%, but what I can do, if it makes it easier for you, I could bring that down to 5 or 4%, but it's up to you. There's always going to say, God, how do I get the 5 or 4%? Okay, for every 1% that I drop the payment rate, I take 20% of the capital growth up to a maximum of a 2% drop, but I keep 40% of the future capital growth. And since we're just trying to get you from nowhere to somewhere and to step you into this house on the way to the Taj Mahal, that might work for you right now. And a lot of people will grab that. So now they're getting a lower interest rate. So I'm getting a little bit less cash flow, but I'm picking up an extra 60, 100, 200,000 bucks where they probably get sold in a few years' time.
With so many people taking an interest in real estate, so many people taking an interest in teaching it. How do you see the integration of creative financing and virtual house flipping evolving? What should investors prepare for to stay ahead of the curve in this rapidly changing market?
Okay, some major things are happening and they're so exciting. With the pandemic, all the court system and the legal system went electronic and digital. That was so important because the doors had opened. It's all digital and they got rid of all the analog stuff. If you want to use lawyers, if they don't do stuff digitally, don't use them. Secondly, with OpenGPT, okay, I can go into any county in America, any county, because I've built some software around it, but anybody can do this. And you're in some little suburb in Kansas in some county and you want to buy a house, or I want to buy from the seller. Right then, put the seller's name in and the address. As soon as I put the seller's name in and address on the smartphone, the API talks to the county court directly and pulls up all the legal documents for that county in that court in any state of America, England or Australia, builds the contract on my phone, and then the whole contract's built. My contract to buy that seller's phone is done in about 60 seconds. It's a lot faster than giving it to a lawyer. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, so remember, the days of contracts and lawyers are just being superseded really, really fast. Okay, and so a lot of your contracts for everything will now just be smartphones talking directly digitally to APIs in court legal departments. Secondly is remote, because we're all used to remote. And again, no one knows where anybody is anymore. No one seriously knows where anybody is, right? So let's say I want to see a seller and I don't see houses. You know how I feel about that. And if he's not coming to my coffee shop, sometimes he can't because I'm a little bit far away. The coffee will be cold by the time I get back. So I said, let me ask you something. Show me your house. Really? How do I do that? Put the little camera on your phone. They walk through their house with a smartphone and film it while I ask them questions. They use Google Earth to see the outside of the house. Is it good, average, or in need of repair? Need of repair. Show me. Grab your smartphone. And they use their smartphone. Understand they're going to not show you some stuff sometimes. But remember, if I'm not putting a lot of my cash in, I don't really care. And if I'm flipping the contract, the guy I'm flipping the contract to, he'll just go down and I'll say to him, my buddy's coming down, my business partner's coming down just to check out on a couple of things. And they go, fine, great. So once people make the steps, we just start thinking different. You'll never go back. Once you do it a different way, when people start sending you money and you're in around traveling the world with a smartphone, how much tax you paid on that money you just got will depend on what country you're in with the smartphone. But that's a whole different conversation, right? That's what we're starting to see. More of this electronic stuff. Sellers always have the same problems that they have for the last 30 or 40 years. Divorce, medical illness, deaths, bankruptcy. These issues never, ever, ever change. It's just that we're going to start using smarter and more efficient technology to find the solutions.
And those problems, they happen to people every single day.
Doesn't change. And if I can finish up with one last question. If the guys who are new are going to go to a seller and say, can you carry back the paper on this, or I haven't got much money, and the guy will say, no, I can't. Ask him this one question. Just suppose you did, right? How much more would I have to pay for the property? Remember, Matt, everybody has a price. Whether or not you pay, it's up to you. but I might see a house for 500 grand. And I say, I know you don't want to, you want all cash, you want all cash. But how much more would I have to pay in order to make payments? If he says 600, well, then I can decide if I'm still in that game or not. But at least I know at what price I can buy it on payments. Everybody will have a price to buy it on payments. And as you and I both know, if it's 600 grand and he wanted 500, and I said, well, let's slice it up like a cake, and I'll give you the first slice next Tuesday. I've avoided talking about interest rates. He'll now sell it to me in slices of cake with no interest. And a 600,000 house, interest-free, no interest over 30 years, means I actually pay half the price for that house as against getting a 6% mortgage.
Piece of pie or a piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Use the cake. Slice it up. People understand that. By the way, if it's a woman, tell her it's a chocolate cake. They get more excited.
That's awesome. Well, Rick, again, it's been a pleasure. I love having you here. I love talking to you. I learn something every single time. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, jump on rickottonofficial.com.